everyone. Welcome to the most exciting talk in this entire festival. So we're going to talk about AI in education.
Like class one.
Yes, we're talking about AI in education from quite a unique perspective. Isn't that right?
That's right. So who are we to talk about AI in education? I'm Mimansha, and I'm a product manager at Goodnotes. I specifically work on our AI products and features that we are building. I've been in the technology industry building products for teachers, students, as well as like some other types of people like small businesses for over 8 years now. So I know a thing or two about how to build AI products responsibly.
And I'm Daniel Emmerson. I'm the Executive Director of Good Future Foundation. So our work, as you can see from the event today, is very much focused around responsible use of AI. It looks like it's in schools.
So, AI in education, teachers are very skeptical and educators are very skeptical about AI in education, and your concerns are valid. So, as a product manager, I've seen really good AI products being built that are very trustworthy, but I've also seen the pitfalls moving too fast in the space. And we also believe that we're going to have experts in the space, so your concerns and your skepticism is absolutely valid. We also understand that learning comes first and technology second. So if it's the other way around, then you split up with a lot of fancy tools that don't accomplish anything, or in fact the detrimental to people. We also believe that as educators, you are the achievers, and you understand the space, you understand your students, you understand learning and development pedagogy. So we want to basically help you understand and equip you with the tools that can help you evaluate AI products and AI solutions. So I've developed a very simple framework, I want to say, which is red flags and green flags to look out for when you're choosing that product, or when you're being approached by thousands of companies, thousands of products, going to conferences, events, festivals. What to look out for, what to ask when you are trying to understand the product. So the first one is, if a product says it is going to replace teacher judgment or automate grading, things like that, that is an absolute red flag. Run. Instead, you should be looking for products that augment your teacher's capabilities and not replace them.
Can we just go back to that red flag for a second?
Yeah.
At least us three can have a conversation around what this. At least us three can have a conversation around what this is. In terms of the sentiment, replacing teacher judgment, of course, is something that we're looking at. But in terms of messaging, what are ways that companies might infer this without explicitly saying that this is what they're doing? Yeah.
That's a great question. So anything that talks about taking away the agency from the teachers, the judgment and decision from the teachers, and automating processes in the background without actually showing them what is going on is, I would say, a red flag. I think the way to get around it is to ask, like, what control do I have? How do I learn? How do I understand how this product works? What are the mechanics behind it? Doing all of these things, and what points of feedback loops and touch points are you creating for me as an educator to change the direction that this AI product is or change the output.
My background, sorry. By the way, I'm Jack. I'm the foundation. I'm helping with the PR.
Automatic grading.
Nice to meet you.
That's like
Annalise.
in
Lovely to meet you both.
essentially.
Oh, it's there. Sorry.
Oh, don't want
There's so many topics now. Sorry, this is too many.
No, it's fine. Please.
But help teachers do what they do better, or focus on, or help them focus on engaging with students rather than automating parts of that engagement. That's the next red flag is when AI solutions are not able to really define what data is being collected, how it is being used. That is obviously a red flag from a privacy standpoint. But then also it means lower trust in you would have lower trust in these products because you don't know what information you're giving out, how it is being used, how it is augmenting the generating for you, or the solutions for other people. So instead, look for products that give you clear data governance and privacy protections and ask questions that help you understand what this means. For example, at Goodnotes, we never collect data without consent. Have handwriting recognition models that help recognize the handwriting and provide features like spell check and things on top of that. But we never train our models without explicitly getting consent from our users. And it's only when they say that they want to give the handwriting data to train, we ask them to fill out a sample. We set with random voices. We never train our models users.
But this is also an important one for me, Mimansha. So we spend a lot of time at the foundation talking about data. It's the number one thing that people want to be talking about at the moment. And I'm interested to know the concerns that people might have around how that data might be used by third parties from those where the data is initially being collected. So if you can imagine, for example, you as a teacher are using an AI model to help with grading or marking, you're ultimately, when you input that data, creating data profiles of the students at your school. Unintentionally, of course, but unless you have an idea of what end-to-end data transfer looks like concerning those students, that profile is being built. Do we know with certainty, with absolute certainty, that that data then isn't going to be sold to a third party or used by another language model in a different context? And what I'm thinking of is how borough councils are already using language models to determine access to public housing. So a borough council has already undergone this transition, right, from a human process of pattern recognition, where an application has come in, they've mapped that application against housing availability, and they appoint the dwelling according to that process. This is now automated. This has happened already. Do we know, for example, when we're using AI tools at school, that those data profiles such as those being created in K-12 are not going to be used later on when it comes to government decision making? Because who knows how that might be used later on, right? At the moment it's housing, but it could be access to basic public services, healthcare, education, access to housing or benefits later on. It may be unlikely, but do you know with certainty that that is going? I'm really interested in this. I'm not expecting you to have questions specifically, but it's a consideration, and yeah, key for your future.
Yeah, so I think the problem is to know what you're giving away your data requires you basically have a law to understand the full data protection, declarations, all of these things. And so the reality is that most school environments, even if you're earnest, even if you do your best to understand, I'm not sure you'd ever be certain that somebody wasn't. Because it's not that hard to write a subclause somewhere within a subclause that says, actually, under these I can do what I like with your data. And ultimately, it ends up being exercise of trust. And that's scary because it's always hard to work who you can trust within that environment. So I completely agree that data governance is crucial. I think it's really hard to do in practice because schools aren't equipped to work out whether or not what they're signing is legitimate. You rely upon the fact that they say that they are whatever it is. But again, you're still trusting that they've done the right thing. You've got some I guess you've got some confidence that there are things that would come to hurt them if they abuse that trust.
Right.
So it doesn't stop it happening. The recent example that comes to mind is the whole 23andMe genetic stuff, where millions of people have given their genetic information to a company that's now gone bankrupt, and that data is now being sold in the open market.
Probably through an AI.
Almost certainly. And so it's really hard to know where to go with this. But I think it's absolutely right that we should be careful and asking the right questions. but I think it's an area where we need a lot more support from the educators because none of us are lawyers.
Absolutely agree. And if you're giving away your data, then one company, who's to say like nobody is prone to cyber attack when your data being stolen? So, yeah, this is actually a really good one. I think some of this seems that to be interesting because I think GDPR has done a lot for privacy that set the framework for the grammar for other companies also follow that pattern and privacy. There are also privacy protection laws, like Gupta, for example. So when a product company says you're compliant sourcing, so yes, to some degree you can trust them, but at the same time, don't exactly.
I tried this as well. So I did. I did.
And copper's complicated in its own regard because it ends up blocking things that actually are open. But because of arbitrary age limits, it creates really complex problems for the user. Because you're told you can't use it if you're under 13, but not because it's not suitable for under 13, but because copper, it makes it complicated if you're under 13, and it's too much hassle. And so we end up in these weird worlds where kind of policy drives practice in a way that isn't always the great and we've got.
I was looking at image generation with OpenAI the other day, and you have to be, so it says you have to consent to being over the age of 18. Is it? But the way they're getting it, your consent over the I think so. Again, there's no way to validate that it's actually they also need to be guardrails within avoid since we're not supposed to be on that.
4 hours is like cool.
It is. I have another thing is like this one is more to do with the process of learning and development. I'm not the expert here, but I think I think like the process of any aspect in order to learn actual learning certain struggle and certain effort that is put in. And if you take away all of these things, then learning. But there is like a fine line to this. Like any new technology that comes in, and
I really focus more on political economy and then
great, but it actually it leads to new skills being developed for that generation. But everybody's talking very helpful. Back in our day, we used to have encyclopedia. You have a lot of information. Now we make it by giving it in hands. But actually, create a generation that is way more.
No, so it's
adapted to all of what they see on the internet, ending up with stuff where the next generation with that application going to a different
Yeah, no, totally. It's not too much of a rabbit hole. We can already see the way that the technology is changing in this regard. And I'm curious, the product manager's perspective. Of course, now when you use GPT-4, it's not as though you have your dialogue with the AI, you get what you want, and you thought, now you get a question. Oh, I've produced X, Y, Z for you. Would you like me also to? PC, right? So it eliminates yet the next level of thought process, where even 3 or 4 months ago you would still have to give some thought to what might I be able to do with this artifact that I've produced. Now you don't even think about that. So it's like, where is that? So on the product side,
and then so
Not very long. Now,
We have two modes of that. One is the food, where
stickers.
and second mode is honey. So for students,
Talking to people.
yeah,
Did you get some signed up?
as if there was a tutor or a teacher guide over this.
I think
About
yeah. So
integration advanced to solve this particular problem. So that's something that was very important.
once I go back with
Solution right away. Safety, right? You
That's what happened. So when I finished,
I
I know.
They are the ones who
If you spend that, it's really busy. Like it's amazing.
So I think it's a great example because not everyone has a or tutor.
And
AI is a great way to do that, but similar
one of the hardest ones there is.
at work.
Anyway, so that's why I do not.
If someone to build products that students can trust, so even a 99% accuracy is not good enough for something like math.
Like also getting signed up for our newsletter and give you access
Next
to
one
our.
is another green flag, just preserving students.
My only way to go back is if I do unlock.
So we don't
Or
want
if I work
things
in
to act its value
or
by themselves, but rather help them develop the critical skills that I take the information that's presented to them through like LLMs or general products and then apply them correctly or sequence it to them. So any products that sort of go, that's like the opposite of student thinking. Want to give,
So you
want them to have ownership of even the content that they are reading, generate from AI. They can understand it, learn it, and be able to apply that.
London is very nice.
Next red flag is when we come across black box algorithms to be your transparency. For example, a product that is automated for you and you don't understand how that works can be really harmful. Instead, we like to look for products that are transparent about AI's limitation and failure.
No, I just
Know that when we saw that and then when this module runs a request, tell the user, hey, what's part
These days,
has LLM
when it was down,
whatever.
I mean, it's
what
funny.
fine or
You know, like
now I know
I don't get anything on my pad. It's gonna make it. Yeah, or what I'll do is I'll change my middle part and I'll make it to a side part and then. Or yeah, so you got to like that. They have four everything like.
We are actually
Oh, so someone
letting
possess me. I get an iPod.
nice try, I like it.
Which is all their present, yes?
that's something that for companies.
What's something else? Stack up.
We got
Next up, is products that focus on overall learning.
Eliminate. That means you get 10.
So,
So reels even better. That makes you very happy. So it's very good. This is definitely the future.
scares me to have
Terry, embrace
with
it.
example.
It can't be fun. See the laptops. Yeah.
So
It's
now we
about,
talked about
it's scary as
skills
fuck.
that
Actually learning how to use it. Once you understand
the skills that they promise. What about the skills for the AI generation itself? I think there are 6 key skills that educators need
it is.
on intelligent AI to their learning environment. The first
And that's
is
our goal.
so understanding the capabilities and more importantly the limitations. Okay,
Have you signed up to receive updates?
for example,
Would you like to find out more about what we offer? Yeah, you'll get emails with
get your
updates.
students in
Information.
this space of what keeps you learning and trying to learn. Second is cognitive engineering, what I call this. It's a very technical term, but it just means studying all these questions, extract them right from fellow topics and
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. So I was
Yeah,
head of
products.
digital learning, and I was facing
so
that day
that
before.
again, as a user for us, you can
So
not
I
only get
completely understand
what you can get closer to your goal, that's daunting, but you're also working on expressing yourself a lot better. So has a lot of other like real world as well.
Absolutely.
Third is critical evaluation. So wishing AI, AI insights. And being very critical of the AI insight that
That's what we're about.
thing that comes through validating, you check for references, you need to explore and understand different ways
And that's something you've built into a lot of the Goodnotes stuff, right? So when you use Ask Goodnotes, you get your references that you click on, and it takes you directly to the paragraph on that page. So you're like, okay, it's coming to this.
and we learned it and we brought it into another product. It's called Neatness. It can really be used by anyone who is recording audio. So we generate notes for you based on the audio, and you can interact with the notes that have been generated for exactly the part of the played audio where that's so maybe like
Only one spin on it.
Oh, that's true. It came out easier.
I saw the video. I haven't
Right.
watched it yet. I haven't looked at it properly, so I saw the video on whenever it was.
YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Well, I was demoing Goodnotes actually Steve, and one day I had Goodnotes, and then the next day I had Beta.
I was like, oh, how does all of this work?
Okay.
Low and it fits that up.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Were you demoing?
No, it was
I cannot guarantee you that, but
This is kind of clear systems that have similar weights that students need to learn how to use AI as a partner and not a crutch. Any kind of over reliance on technology is that can be learning. So teachers should keep in mind where they are better to learn how to get the most out of AI. I think another like skill that is, and I think this is a very interesting space to talk about because we work in a very AI first, technology first company, and a lot of tech companies around the world have a mandate to use AI because it helps you 10x your work and be more productive. And we want to see it as a sign of laziness, but the creative ways you're able to use AI and multiply your own impact is being avoided.
so we're not
So
profit
only
dedicated to
spread to all
helping
other
educators and
other
schools to
professionals.
use AI in
So
a full manner.
who are able to do their
Making
best
it
work
fit perfect.
using
Recently
AI
created
AI their own
that allows
minds, maybe to structure reports, maybe to ask themselves questions that are going to make them those are really great. Those are some
Can I jump in on this one? So just thinking about the future of work, and this is something that I've flagged in other presentations as well, where now because of what technology can do, certainly I feel in my professional life, where I might have had 2 or 3 days to complete a report, or look at fixed agenda items, or even action items from an agenda,
And if you'd like to see
now the expectation is that it's done before the meeting. And if you don't know how to do that, or that's not part of your workflow, then that's seen as a hindrance, right? That's quite a negative thing. We're not necessarily teaching students in our schools how to work with the AI in order to increase their work.
You want a Diet Coke, man?
But that's an observation, I think, when looking at the future of work.
Oh.
Consideration that schools need.
I'm on the same. Are you on Coke as well? Yeah.
So I'm able to do a lot more work because I use AI tools to write some documentation, something product management work. It's also means that everybody else around me is the same thing. And actually, a lot more like multiples of content and consume that content. So one of the ways that I use AI is also to consume content. Drag to key point instead of reading 10 pages of a document. I can extract that key information with the references and citations, get exactly the information that I need for my role.
Quite actually a perfect loop, isn't it?
Yes.
With you generating it with AI and then you summarising it with AI, and nobody actually creating the content in between matters. It's we have to be aware of, I think, in this journey.
That's for sure. And that's when a trust piece is
Yeah.
as well.
I think it's just easy to create a rather than I think tools like ChatGPT and Claude are great, but the issue that I like with them is they're trapped. The badges are very nice in nature. There's no real fast point to be fast. Be generated. Every time we want to make a change. Oh, I want a banana. All over again. So and it might change things that you didn't want it to change. So we're trying to build products and help you feedback where you can like iterate, follow up, accept or reject. Everything that the AI does is actually a suggestion and not content that's already set.
I probably should actually spy out what my right
Well,
on the iPad.
if I may, just on that one final piece, and being very candid here, we, as an organisation, when we're making decisions around what to do strategically, we will draft a rapid. So a document that essentially lists what we want to, or what we're proposing, details what we're proposing, along with reasons for and against this decision. What employees may do is copy the entirety of the rapid, dump it in an LLM, and ask for give me a comment that I can include on this rapid to form part of that discussion. So, and it's almost like an instinctive thing to do, right? Offloading decision making and bringing that into an organization. I know it happens.
Yep.
So we're already offloading real world decisions to the technology. And if that's happening in the workplace, the professional workplace, I'm sure it's also happening in different sectors as well. So consideration, right, about how we're using this. What about the intellectual property that's going into the language model, which is what schools need to be attending to, particularly if they're uploading student work. And how are we making decisions based on the information that we have, even if they have come from a language model. Again, another rabbit hole, but one that I wanted to at least address before we go.
I think that's a really point of AG. AI. It's definitely done.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's like an interesting perspective to it. So I think AI is great for like LLMs are great for helping take a very large amount of information where you need to have that critical evaluation. That is not everyone says learn how to do it as and there are lots of
Oh, so where are we? But hosting here. We recently agreed to go.
We overcome that as an organisation by encouraging people to state, right, this was generated using towards so you know if it's come from an AI or if it's human generated content. And this is something that people often talk about, particularly teachers speaking about when they've used an AI. Because it's not bad. It just having an awareness and a degree of transparency. It's really good.
I think it has to be good at your house. So it's good to stay what it is about AI generation. What you do the language of communication, the audience, so voice, and what it actually generate. Like give the answer, like what it like.
Well, as the science teacher, there's also the hit.
So it's not to build that.
You get a t-shirt.
Which is understanding bias.
No, like
Because there is a lot of people that
there's purples.
yeah,
Thank you.
I think the last one is actually my favorite. Which is quality development and learning how to learn with AI. Now that there's all kinds of knowledge available at our fingertips, your learning process gets faster as well. How to pursue your interests and AI. The other day, I was really nice about what's happening in the Korean War, but yeah, we just a few months ago, I was traveling around Turkey, and I got to generate a audio library telling me about all the different sites that I was seeing as I was walking. So it's just using AI to I've already touched on this with the applied trust and safety. The class with Goodnotes very rigorously. I think the really example really interesting. Future profile. Which gives you answers, create quizzes and then summarize books what they think as the truth. So we actually don't bring information or we have knowledge of the LLM, but rather what's called a RAG. So the imagine
He's just occasionally blow off. We'll figure having something else to do.
answers you were getting, the responses you were getting based on. Next one is Goodnotes Classroom, where products that are designed to help teachers simplify processes, like parts of learning that are proficient, like being able to see every student's answer grouped together, being able to group similar answers and grading. Which we know teachers are really great, but it's just cumbersome and they do it physically right now with unwinning papers and then they are back together. With the notes classroom is helping to that very quickly. It also runs handwriting recognition to every group related or similar answers together so you can evaluate them side by side. So it's actually helping, it's augmenting the grading process of teachers rather than taking that away from them. And also, teachers can see what the students are doing and engaging with in real time, so that they can keep an eye on what every student is doing and seeing there's some of these for these support corporate for lesson. So we are trying to get teachers to be able to spend more time engaging with students and less time on tasks. You have a lot.
Yes, another topic for another day.
And last one is a product that is still in beta. We just launched it a couple of days ago, and it's a new concept type with Goodnotes, and it's just text documents. So what I talked about before about chat being fancy and signatures actually generate content to give you a suggestion what you are writing. Text documents, AI in text documents actually gives you all that power and gives you that spectrum. So one thing that we've built as a part of the workflow, the AI workflow, is everything that the AI does, is your agent does, is actually the suggestion, and it clearly explain what the agent has done. So that situ on the canvas next to your so they can suggest or follow up. So that that you are the one who is responding to the customer. And you are one brought back content that is generated, text that is generated, right next to what is so that that side by side comparison. But again, about giving user control and to the agency over what the AI generates, rather than it controlling what it goes into. And it is because they were like I said, in every on model for the data, we still consent. So, use so those are like activities. Regularly, your feedback actually supports our roadmaps and the so 3 core principles to take away from this talk. So AI should be continue to preserve the struggle that leads to learning and knowledge is that pedagogy and all else. So what is your role at you can no trust that will come when and small and also the best AI products will lead to procedures.
Oh, okay. How do I get more information about this particular one?
We're going to be launching something a little bit later on, a free solution for teachers with a free forever commitment. I'll speak about that in a later session. I think Mimansha teed this up very nicely for what that is and how it works. But thank you so very much for your time today. Wonderful to have someone in the room who's working behind the scenes of AI is sharing best practices. Thank you, Mimansha.